Hi, I'm Marcus with the IndieMusicLab.com, and today I want to show you how to get a vocal double sound that is brilliant yet very, very simple to achieve. So first off, let me give you a quick taste of what you're about to learn. Here is before the vocal doubles, and then here's after. But in your mind, boy, you're sinking still. So in this video, you're gonna learn the 5-part process to getting this type of ambient vocal double sound. Now, last week, this song that you just heard, which is from my friend Roselynd, his song Deep Sea Diver. Last week, we talked about it and I analyzed the mix and I walked through some things. And I'm just so grateful that my friend David, whose artist name is Roselynd, as well as his producer, Charlie Russell, allowed me to analyze this song. They sent me these stems and I have just really appreciated and enjoyed going through it and really looking at this song and analyzing. And so this is going to be another step in that process. We are going to zoom in on the vocal double in this song. Now, the first part of this, step 1, you could say, is you want to record 2 additional vocal takes on top of your lead vocal. So here is David's lead vocal. Let me come over here. Pull from your water and into light. You can, of course, hear the bleed of the guitar and some drums coming through there as well. But then listen to the vocal double. So here's the one. And then here's the other one. Behind their eyes. So these are 2 new takes. These are not copied from the original vocal take, none of that bullcrap. This is actually recording in additional vocal takes, additional recordings, and then layering them in with the lead vocal. So that's the first step. Just get a couple additional vocal takes where you're singing the exact same thing, but then you are mixing them in slightly different ways to blend it in with that lead vocal. Now, the second thing you want to do is you want to use a little bit of panning. So on these, since they sent me these mix stems, I don't actually have the original session here, but I can guess this is probably around 50 left, 50 right? It's not 100 left. It sounds like it's close to 50 left and 50 right. And I like that they did it this way. I tend to prefer when I'm working with vocal doubles. Often I like it if it's not completely 100 left, 100 right. Sometimes that can sound really cool too. And so this is 100% just up to your taste and what you like. But I would say go between 50 left and right all the way up to 100 left and right. The point is you want to create a little bit of stereo width, and the effect that this gives it is it feels like it's wrapping around that lead vocal, because when I bring that lead vocal back, from your water, listen to how it feels like they're wrapping around. The silence of, yeah. They're just wrapping around it, kind of hugging that lead vocal, so to speak. And so, of course, whichever DAW you use, it doesn't matter. This applies to every DAW you might be using. Just come into the pan, of course, and do this. Now, as I've mentioned, I don't need to do this because that's already printed in the stereo file, since the stems they sent me, these are already mixed down. And so the panning is already printed into the stereo stems here. But there you go. That is step 2. Add a bit of panning. I would say between 50 and 100 left and right. Now, the third step to this is sometimes it can really help you get the sound you want when you add a bit of tight tuning to the vocal doubles. Not necessarily on the lead vocal, but on the vocal doubles. Because I want you to listen to the lead vocal and listen to how minimal, if at all, there might not even be any tuning on this lead vocal. Behind their eyes. So you can hear the pitchiness, but that's how it, that's great, right? At most, maybe they did a little bit of melodyne, but there's no semblance of any sort of obvious auto-tune effect at all. But when you listen to the backgrounds, when you listen to these doubles, you can hear that tuning. And so this is just a cool thing you can do where you add some tuning to it. And so to give you an example of this, let me actually duplicate this lead vocal track, since this is the track that is more dry. And I want to show you very quickly what this could look like with a bit of tuning. So my go-to when it comes to tuning is the Waves Tune plugin. So if I add waves tune here, this song is in the key of G, and so it might be something like this.
The silence of you behind their eyes.
Might be something like that.
But you're left to wonder.
Where you're adding some tuning, again, not to the lead vocal necessarily, but to the vocal doubles that are farther back in the mix. It just kind of helps tighten it up. And then step forward to getting this ambient vocal double sound is you want to add a long reverb to the vocal doubles. As you can see, or as you can hear rather, on these doubles, you can hear really long reverb.
From your water and into light.
It's a really long tail on that reverb. So again, let's come back to this, or wait, no, it's this one, this copy, duplicated track that I made just to give you an example of what the plugin chain might look like. Now this of course would come after some EQ and some compression and those types of things. And I will mention EQ at the end of this, but that's not exactly the point of this video. I have plenty of other videos on my channel where I dive more into compression and those sorts of things. And so if we were to add, let's just start with maybe little plate. Let's see what would happen, or let's see what happens if we were to add little plate to this and add a nice long tail to it.
The silence of you behind their eyes.
I feel like I would want a sound that's almost, or at least to get closer to what they ended up using. Maybe something like Valhalla Supermassive would sound good. This is a free plugin by Valhalla, by the way. And maybe if we went to the reverbs, I've used, which one is it? Okay, the 80 space verb I've used before. See what that sounds like.
But you're left to wonder.
Bring the low up.
Road and hill. But in your mind, boy, you're sinking still.
So there, I've got the mix at about 30%, really nice long reverb. So this is the type of sound that we could use on these double tracks. Again, we have some tuning and a nice long reverb tail as well. And finally, to wrap this up, step number 5 to get this ambient vocal double effect is you probably want to do a little bit of EQ. And so perhaps the EQ moves you make, I would say you probably want to make a couple cuts. And often for me, I'll make a cut that looks something like this in this range, and then also perhaps on the top end. And the reason for these two cuts is the vocal doubles generally don't need to have as much weight, and the feeling or the sound of weight comes from this area. And so it can often be helpful to cut away a little bit between, say, 200 and 500 hertz, and then as well as the standard low cut filter here that looks something like this. So let's see what this sounds like before. Come over here.
Pull from your water and into light.
Why am I over here? Let's come over here to where there's no drums.
Those dark waters, you lost your mind.
So I might want to do like,
did you ask the ocean of all she knows? And then her answer.
and then also the top end, often with the vocal doubles, you don't need them to be bright. You just need them to fill in the space more so in the mids and the high mids, and to create more of a sense of fullness. You don't want them to be overly harsh or bright, and you definitely don't want them to distract from the spotlight, which is the lead vocal. The lead vocal is the main thing here, and the doubles are just there to support the lead vocal. And so one of the ways that you can lean into that is by doing a cut on the top end. And so in this case, I might do a shelf cut like this. And so around maybe -3, -4 dB, doesn't have to be anything crazy, but this is perhaps what it might look like. Something like this with these two cuts. And then you could do that for both the left and the right vocal double. So if we put this together, let me just remove that duplicated track that I used as an example. And let's come back to this part of the song where the doubles are present. And I'll go one by one, start with the lead vocal, I'll add in these doubles, and then I'll play the entire song, or I'll play the full song with everything going.
Pull from your water and into light. The silence of you behind their eyes, but you're left to wander through
right, thank you so much, my friend, for watching this video. Be sure to go check out Roselynd, check out his song Deep Sea Diver. It is an incredible track. I absolutely love it. David's a fantastic guy, and so be sure to go support him. Follow him on Instagram, follow him on Spotify, go give him some love. All right, so before you go, I have a gift for you, and it is my visual guide for fixing vocal EQ problems. And this plays into this last step here that I just talked about with EQ on these doubles. If you want a visual understanding of what the moves look like when you're talking about, okay, my vocals sound too muddy, what should I do? I give you a visual example of what the cut or the boost looks like depending on the quality that you are after, or depending on the problem that you are trying to fix with the EQ on your vocals. Okay, so it's my visual guide for fixing vocal EQ problems. It's 100% free. I'll leave a link to that in the description below, so be sure to check it out if you're trying to master your EQ skills. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.